Entrepreneurship means a lot of different things to different people. This is actually a term that is foreign to many of us here in Africa, especially to the women. We get to see that our education system does not really prepare us for the facts. It doesn't dig deep to let us know what entrepreneurship is. But today we are going to find out the truth about entrepreneurship. Is it as attractive, as glamorous as we get to see? Welcome to Women in Business. My name is Mary Great Nachiganda, and we are going to talk about a topic that says, is entrepreneurship as glamorous as it seems? And we can't obviously fail to applaud our beautiful venue, Coffee City here in Ntinda. Come and pass by, come and get served all the coffee that you hear of. Come and get it here at Coffee City, and you will surely get the best out of your money. We are going to talk about entrepreneurship being glamorous, just like you heard. This is something that many of us think entrepreneurs have it easy. They have a smooth ride because that is what we get to see. That is what they show to us. But you're going to find out from two ladies today who are going to explain to us the beauty, the hardships, and why it is worth sticking around and trying out entrepreneurship. Starting on my right, please introduce yourselves to our viewers.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Naluvega Sharon, and I'm very happy to be here on Business, Women in Business, right?
Thank you, Sharon, for coming along. We are very glad to have you today. Our guest, please introduce yourself to our viewers so they can best understand who is going to speak to them today.
Okay, thank you so much, moderator, for making this program happen. My name is Faith Ahaviona, and I am the Dean for the Faculty of Business and Management at Cavendish University.
Wow, at least we have a dean of a faculty of business, so we can trust everything we are going to hear from her. Prepare yourself. If you have a friend that's not watching, please let them know that this is the time to hear the truth about entrepreneurship. We also have a very strong entrepreneur lady here. Ladies, what do you think? To you, what is entrepreneurship? How do you understand this term? Because so many people don't really get to understand it, or we just hear the word, but we don't know what really takes place. What does the word entrepreneurship mean to you?
So if I may start by submitting. So when we talk about entrepreneurship, it's actually doing or undertaking a venture with the hope of a financial gain. Call it a profit. So if you start up something, and in that starting up something, the motivation is that you gain out something financial or something profit-oriented, then we say that you're undertaking an entrepreneurial venture, and that is what we can call entrepreneurship in simple terms.
So even something as small as a business that I can start from home, that can also be referred to as entrepreneurship, or we leave that to the big companies.
As long as it has an implication of earning something financial, that is a profit at the end of the day. So for the interest of our viewers this morning, when we talk about a profit, we are saying if I sell an item, I produce an item and I sell it more than I actually made it at, and I have that difference, which is a positive, and that is my motivation for starting this venture, then I am actually an entrepreneur. So entrepreneurship is not about huge. It is not about multinational. It is not about national. It's not about continental. It's about domestic. It's about small. It's about retail, micro, whatever level that you're looking at. All that can actually be qualified as entrepreneurship.
All right, Sharon, we've heard what entrepreneurship is, and we know that you're doing so much. You're doing too much. First, tell us what you do.
Before I say, okay, I'm going to share what I do. I consider myself an entrepreneur because, as Doctor has said, being an entrepreneur is not about being big, massive. You own big companies like Coca-Cola, MTN, and what. You can actually be home and do different types of businesses, and you become an entrepreneur. So, me, I'm a cleaner professionally. I have a cleaning company. I have a fashion house. I'm into fabrics. I import fabrics. So I make clothes at the same time. I have a cafe. I have a spa. So it is I do a wide range of things now. The way I understand entrepreneurship, I think an entrepreneur entrepreneurship means starting and running a business with a tendency of creating something for yourself and working in your own ventures. So it is an entrepreneur is someone that is an individual that has an idea and makes the idea, like gets an action out of their idea. You have an idea and you put it in action. So everybody that is out there that has ever developed and has ever had an idea, and they got an action out of it, and they are doing something out of their idea, is an entrepreneur.
All right.
Yeah.
We've heard that you're doing so many things, but
Yes.
they're not relatable. They are quite not easily relatable. From Professor, do you think it is wise to open up so many things that are not relatable, or maybe an entrepreneur should open things within the same line so that one can feed the other? What do you think is preferable?
Okay, thank you so much. So, to just supplement on what Sharon is exactly doing, we call that diverse entrepreneurship. And diverse entrepreneurship has a number of advantages. The first advantage is that business is seasonal. There are seasons for business. There are seasons for cleaning. There are seasons for clothing. There are seasons for food. There are seasons for ceremonies. You get it? So a diverse entrepreneur the main emphasis will be they want to tap resources at any given time.
Yeah.
And also tap resource or profit, as I mentioned from the onset, from every given sector. All those can belong to different sectors. So when one sector is actually flourishing, another one necessarily is not flourishing. And if you want to earn revenue across the year, then you're better off being diverse. So diverse is actually something that we strongly encourage in entrepreneurship, because it keeps you earning throughout the entire season. But the interesting bit about entrepreneurship that we always front, we say a successful entrepreneurship, of course, on top of being what we call multifaceted, meaning you wear so many faces or you wear so many hats, you also must be like a master in the entity of decision making. Can I make decisions in this area? Or can I empower the decision processes in this area?
Yes.
And I also empower decision processes in another area and in another area. If you can do that, please, that is the way to go. Because if you also look at the gurus and the giants of the globe, that is actually what they do. They run a couple of entities or a number of enterprises in different sectors across. But also equally, on the other hand, they can also be entrepreneurs who are diverse, but they choose to complete the value chain. So, for example, I can be a cleaner. I can go back and produce my cleaning materials. You get it?
Yeah.
Then I can go ahead and I be the clearing agent for my cleaning materials. Or I support my cleaning firm to pay its taxes. You get it? So I am at different stages, but I'm still diverse in a way, but I'm still maintaining the same what we call the value chain. So diverse is actually very encouraged in entrepreneurship.
Wow. Let me bring this conversation basically to the women specifically. You find that, I don't want to put this stereotype, but most women are not diverse. They prefer to concentrate on one thing, complete it, and then focus on the other. Is this a skill that is taught in schools, or is it something that I can instill in myself, according to your years of experience in business managing?
Do you want to say something?
I want to say something about that. Now, when you want me, I consider an entrepreneur as somebody who is a finisher. You don't start something and give up and just give up like that. Now, me, I do so many things, like I told you in the first place. It's not that the first venture was not working. Like Doctor explained, it was, like when you're growing up, I was talking to her in the morning and I was giving her an example. When I was growing up, every girl's dream was like, let me open up a boutique because I want to look nice, because I want people to I look nice, and then this is the business that I can handle. It is something that I love doing. Most women, most girls love fashion. So every girl, when they are starting up, they're like, I'm going to do a boutique and bring designer clothes and everything. That is what happened to me in the first place. I loved fashion. I'm like, let me do this. So it is not something that I went into to actually make money. I first had the love for fashion, and I'm like, okay, I can do a boutique. But as I grew up and the entrepreneurship spirit kicked in, I'm like, no, there's no way I'm going to get the kind of money I want from this kind of business. But I did not forget about it. It is still there. It is my first venture, and I respect it. I know where I came from. It pushed me, and then it is I just said I needed more. That's when I decided, and I'm like, I traveled and I saw this idea of a cleaning business. People used to come, dress very nice, park their cars, enter people's houses, clean, and then they dress up and go. And I'm a squinky cleaner. I love cleaning, so I'm like, I've always believed in doing something that I love. If I don't love something, I don't invest in it, because the love won't be there in the first place. So I started the cleaning business. So when it came, it came, and I loved it, and it was a good venture, and others also kept on coming. So the place where I opened up my cleaning offices had another space, and I had an idea about cosmetics, spa, and everything. And there was like a small space, and I'm like, okay, I can do something in this space. I took it up. So it's because they are on the same building, and I can easily manage them. And I had little funds to fund the project, so I'm like, why not? But you don't give up. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you don't forget where you came from. You have to be a finisher, because there is a lot that comes with it. It's just not always a straight line that I can start this. If it's not working up, I'm going to give up. Then that does not make you an entrepreneur.
Wow. So now that we know what entrepreneurship is and who is an entrepreneur, we found out that entrepreneurship is a spirit. On top of that knowledge, you have to have the spirit, the passion, and I think the eyes to see within your environment. Now we are going to find out, is entrepreneurship really as glamorous as we the outsiders see it? Professor, is it as glamorous as we see it?
Picking back from the submission that I made before, to say that one, what makes you an entrepreneur is because you're saying, I would like to do something that would earn me a profit.
Yeah.
But for me to do something, picking on what Sharon has said, there are always three propellers that we say should actually propel you to choosing a business or to choosing a venture which you want to undertake.
Sure.
The first thing that you must consider is, do I have love for an item? Something that you love so much, it implies that you spend so much time doing. You actually spend so much time doing. So in business, we always say, and I mean, this is also biblical, that where your heart is, there your treasure will be.
Yeah.
And of course, where your heart is where you spend a lot of your time. Now, the people on the camera, I am sure you spend so much time on your cameras.
Yeah.
So if you had to choose a business venture, I mean, don't come to teaching, because you don't really,
you don't belong there.
If you're going to teach how to use the camera, you get it. So that is the first thing. Where your heart is, where your interest is, there your treasure should be. So if you're looking out for an entrepreneurial venture to choose, then go into where you spend a lot of your time. That is number one consideration. Yeah. Number two consideration is in terms of skills. Where are my skills? Where am I an expert? There, that is where I would want to put my business, because that is what I understand most. I will not be deprived of skill, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then number three, is this profitable? Does it attract clientele around? If I need to consider a business, I mean, I'm not going to say I want to put transport to go to heaven or to go to the moon, because I don't see a lot of clientele in the world, and also in Uganda. You get it? Yeah. So I'll put my money where I can actually view clientele. Now, coming back to your question of, is it actually glamorous? Now, there's a saying that says that not everything, that marriage is not a bed of roses, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm just using one of those analogies to say that entrepreneurship is actually very nice. You can call it glamorous, but it has lots of pinches. It has lots of thorns. And actually, when they pierce, sometimes they can actually go deep, isn't it?
True.
So we can say, yes, it is glamorous, but it's not glamorous. And actually, we again say in entrepreneurship that if you actually have it simple, then you're not an entrepreneur. All the entrepreneurs we have seen, there's no one who has ever had it simple. It never exists, isn't
Okay, it's not simple, but from what you've said, what I've picked about the glamorous part is that you get to do something that you love.
One, you get to do something that you love.
Yes.
Two, you get to do something that you feel you're skilled in.
Yeah.
Three, you get to do something that you think is profitable. If I invest, I will return. You get it?
Yeah.
So with that whole spirit of going in because I love something, isn't it? Then you will do it, that even when times come and it's actually not glamorous, you still stay there.
Yeah.
That is what will keep you there. So we can say, yes, it is glamorous, but it has lots of underlying interesting. I call them interesting because for us, in both in class, in actual practice, we call that learning. You get it? Entrepreneurship is a journey. And I hope I can emphasize this to our viewers. Entrepreneurship is a journey. You don't wake up women and you say, I'm going to make it to the top. That is not there. That's where we go wrong. It is a journey, and what actually makes it glamorous, as you put it, is because you fall in ditches, you actually pull yourself out. If you had the interest, if you made the right decision, if you developed the right skill set, isn't it?
Yeah.
You fall again, you pick yourself up. By falling and picking yourself up, we categorize you as successful, not the match that you've amassed at the end of the day. Your ability to sink and rise is what we consider success. And that ability to sink and rise is what I would term as something that is glamorous, because you have something to show after a lot of mud, after a lot of construction, after a lot of building. You have something out there that people will identify with and say, this is a brand, and this is the glamorous bit of it.
So it's wise to say that the glamour comes after the hard work and the hardship.
Exactly what I was going to say. You know why I was laughing a little bit, yeah? It takes me back. When people see, like, when people talk about entrepreneurship and everyone's like, I'm an entrepreneur, I want to be an entrepreneur. People don't talk about the other side, the hardship that comes with it. Me, I think it is only glamorous after you work for the glamorous bit of it. If you don't work for it, it can never be glamorous.
So in the first years, if let me say I'm just starting my business, let me say in chicken, not rearing chicken, I shouldn't expect it to be smooth in the beginning.
Yeah,
it takes patience.
Me as a business owner, if I'm doing a couple of businesses, I can sell to you a different picture. I can sell to you a different picture. You as the person that is just looking at me, you can look at me as like, okay, she's doing a lot of things, and then I think entrepreneurship is good. It's glamorous. But you don't know what comes with it. So I choose what to show you. I choose to show you that it is glamorous, but I can also choose to show you that it's not. So that I'll still go back to what she has said, that the glamorous bit of it comes with the hard work. If you want it to be glamorous as you want it to be, you have to work for it.
Some people say that entrepreneurs show us that it is glamorous because they want to be given that high status. Not many people attach a high status to someone that is struggling. Because even when you find it is hard for someone to host, let me say, a struggling entrepreneur on their shows, so they paint it glamorous because they want that status, the respect accorded to them. How right is that?
If you're doing something, if I'm doing a business, it's I call all my small ventures my babies. If I've just opened up something, I call it my baby. Now, if you want to attract something, let's say if I open up a cafe, like Coffee City where we're seated right now, and I show my clients that they come in and I start struggling, the coffee machine is not working, maybe I'm using a substandard coffee machine, and then what are they going to think about me? a client has to come in. I have to keep the smile. Hey, good to see you. Welcome to Coffee City. We are glad to have you here. And they're not going to know what is going to happen in the kitchen, right? Because I have to attract you to keep coming. Now, if we are to attract more people to become entrepreneurs, we don't have to scare them. We don't have to show them the hardest bit of being an entrepreneur. You also have to share the good things that come with it. So if it takes, I think the glamorous bit of it has taken over it, because when you're selling something, you have to you have to attract, because you're looking for the good out there. So you cannot look bad, or you cannot show people that things are bad when you want to attract them.
But I think it needs to change a bit.
If I may say something small about that, what Sharon is saying. So when we talk about entrepreneurship being glamorous, and why people actually portray that picture, in entrepreneurship we say it's a dream. And it's only you who sees that dream.
True.
Everyone around you never
might
sees
not
that
see
dream.
it.
When you go to bed, we can never have the same dream, isn't it? Yeah. So if my vision and my dream is to build actually a city, isn't it? I'll actually call this little place a city. That's number one. And when the customer comes in, I will pretend they are in a city. You get it?
Yeah.
So partly why entrepreneurs, even if they are struggling, now I don't want to use a very hard term, but allow me to use it myopically. Myopic meaning short-sightedness, isn't it?
Yeah.
Myopically, you say they are struggling. No, they are not struggling. They have made the first step.
Exactly. Exactly.
You, who is out there watching, you have not even made a single step.
Yeah.
But for them, they've taken the first leap of faith. And they've said, I will open my city. Whether my city is still on a decimal and I'm dreaming of a city,
it is a city,
which is supposed to be huge, for me in my world, it is
a city.
Yeah. So these people,
because
who
you have a dream,
thinking that are actually struggling, they are not struggling. Their dream is making formations, isn't it? They have made the first step, so they're actually not struggling. Now you're struggling, and this is why the world goes wrong. And I must say, this is where women go wrong. You listening to what the world around is telling you about your dream. Remember, it is your dream. Yeah. So you're giving ear to every other person speaking into your dream,
who is not part of your dream.
Who is not part of your dream. You get, the dream is yours. So these people are not struggling. They've made the first step. And I want to let the entrepreneurs out there know that if you have made the first step, worry not, the rest will fall in place.
Yeah.
Don't worry how long it takes. Just keep
pushing.
Just keep going.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
But if entrepreneurs showed us the hardships at some point, we would get prepared, because the reason why so many businesses don't even make a year or two is because they get in with this beautiful picture and then they learn on job, and not many women are very strong emotionally to handle that. So if those hardships were put out a little more, I think it would help someone have an insight into what they're getting into, instead of just parading the beauty, the vacations.
For me, it's not about the hardships. It's not about the hardships. Entrepreneurship, you remember my simple definition at the beginning? You have opened this one venture and your intent is a financial gain, isn't it?
Yeah.
Your financial gain is not preconditioned to a time. You get it? It is not preconditioned to a time. I'll tell you a couple of interesting businesses here in Uganda, and these are giant businesses. An example is Equity Bank. I was vividly there when their MD in 2018 came to speak to us at a church. And he said, we have been in Uganda for the last 5 years and we have made losses. I mean, Equity is a giant. You get it?
Yeah.
So who are you with your little shop? Who are you with your little farm? Who are you with your little boutique?
I like the way she's stating
who are you with
everything.
Your little whatever? Who says, I want to open today and in 1 year I want to return profit? You get it?
That is done out of ignorance or lack of knowledge, like I
Exactly.
say.
So that's why we are here today, and we are saying,
Yeah, maybe to add on what she has said, it is okay. It is okay when you're starting. It is okay to cry. It is okay to fail. When you want to be an entrepreneur, accept everything that comes with it. It is okay when you start a business and then it fails, and then you cry a little bit, and then you wake up and you don't want to wake up, and then you're like, you push every day. People, it's not always a straight line. It is okay to fail, but what is important is, have you finished? Are you willing to finish? Are you willing to be a finisher
to keep
of
going.
what you've started? That is what matters.
That's what most people don't get, because so many people think when I become an entrepreneur and I leave this job that keeps me here, I'm going to have so much time to myself, so much time to do other things. And when you get into that, you find that it's completely the opposite. Because when you decide to have time for your life or other things and ignore that, that's when you're going to register losses. And this is something that so many people get into entrepreneurship not knowing.
So now you bring up another aspect. How do I multitask? How do I run a job at the same time, and I'm an entrepreneur? Or how do I easily switch from being in a job setup to an entrepreneur?
Can we talk about that after this break?
Please, let's do that.
So we are still talking about entrepreneurship, and at this point in time, you get to see that it is not a bed of roses. It is actually harder than we can imagine, if I may say that. But from these ladies, you get to know that it is totally worth it. In the end, after a few years, or if you're lucky, a few months, you're going to see the fruits of what you've been working hard for. This commercial break, and we shall be right back.